So last week I made a video entitled ENFP SJW Meltdown Oblivion NPC, which showcased some of the shadow functions for ENFP, or the ENFP personality type. And we really looked at a lot of negative aspects of the ENFP personality type and how they might manifest in someone. And so I wanted to make this video that is going to be not so much humorous, and it's going to be about the strengths of the ENFP personality type, and we're not going to be talking about shadow functions this time around. And in order to showcase these positive aspects, I've picked Joseph Campbell as our celebrity example. And in particular, Joseph Campbell he's pretty famous for writing this book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. If you haven't read it, he's a scholar of comparative religion and comparative mythology, and in this video that I'm using, or the video clip that I'm using for this video, he's talking about a sacred sound called Om. It's a sacred sound and sacred symbol.
It comes out here again now.
But how does one worship a metaphor, love a metaphor, die for a metaphor?
Well, that's what people are doing all over the place. That's what people are doing all over the place. Dying for metaphors. And when you really realize the sound Om, the sound of the mystery of the word everywhere, then you don't have to go out and die for anything, because it's right there all around. And just sit still and see it and experience it and know it.
So first I want to talk about the area of fostering and protecting, and it's an area that nurtures and protects others, and for this person and for ENFPs, it's introverted feeling. And in the clip I chose, he specifically says, that people everywhere are going out and getting themselves killed and putting their lives on the line for metaphors and dying for metaphors. And he's saying that once you have that feeling on the inside that you don't need to go out and die for metaphors because you've experienced some profound feeling coming for yourself, then you don't have to do that. Or I should say, coming from yourself, not coming for yourself. Some profound feeling coming from yourself, from within yourself.
Know it.
Explain Om. This is the first time you've used that.
Well, Om is a word that, what can I say, represents to our ears that sound of the energy of the universe, of which all things are manifestations. And Om, it's a wonderful word. It's written A-U-M. You start in the back of the mouth, ah, and then oo, you fill the mouth, and closes at the mouth. And when you pronounce this properly, all vowel sounds are in that pronunciation.
Then we move on, because people might say, okay, well, that's clearly introverted feeling, but okay, well, maybe it is in an area of fostering and protecting, but how about introverted sensing? Because what if this person is just maybe he's an ESFP? Well, what does it have to do with ENFPs? Well, the cool thing is that along with this parental attitude of introverted feeling, we have idealized personal sensing preference, or introverted sensing. So whereas to most people the sound Om, or the word Om, is just a word, the sensing preference of the way the word sounds to this person becomes idealized. And the idealization of the sound of the word, and the idealization of the symbol, and the sensing elements of the symbol leads a dominant extroverted intuitive to try to shake out all of the possibilities. So it's like out of the concrete manifestation of the word. But if you think of, say, like an extroverted sensor, really likes a certain type of, say, like a certain type of whiskey or something, they'll become as refined as you can imagine. Like they won't be just drinking like the cheap whiskey. They'll want the top of the line whiskey, and they'll take part in drinking whiskey or whatever it is, whatever sensory activity it is, in the most refined way imaginable. That's what the extroverted intuitive is doing with possibilities. They want to basically shake out the strongest possibilities from whatever object they're looking at. So whereas other people might just see this symbol, or a very short word, like 3-syllable word, a person who is extroverted intuitive, or dominant extroverted intuitive, who idealizes this word, sees it as a gold mine of possibilities.
Goethe says, all things are metaphors. Alles Vergängliche ist nur ein Gleichnis. Everything that's transitory is but a metaphorical reference. That's what we all are. And to see the word, we're getting back to that, your radiance that we spoke of before comes out here again now. And consonants are regarded simply as interruptions of Om. And all words are thus fragments of Om, as all images are fragments of the form of forms of which all things are just reflections. And so Om is a symbol, a symbolic sound that puts you in touch with that throbbing being that is the universe. And when you hear some of these Tibetan monks that are over here from the Gyuto monastery outside of Lhasa, when they sing the Om, you know what it means, all right? That's the zoom of being in the world. And to be in touch with that and to get the sense of that, that is the peak experience of all. The birth, the coming into being, and the dissolution, the cycle of that. And this is called the four-element syllable. What is the fourth element? And the silence out of which it comes, and back into which it goes, and which underlies it. Now my life is the but there is a silence that underlies it, and that is what we would call the immortal. This is the mortal, and that's the immortal, and there wouldn't be this if there weren't that.
The meaning is essentially wordless.
Yes.